Okay, slide is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today we will see the different type of sense organ in fishes. As I have told, okay, so as I have already told, the sense organ are basically the specialized organ, okay, or the special type of organ which receive the physical or the chemical stimuli from the environment, okay, and so the any specialized organ which can receive the external stimuli, which may be in the form of physical stimuli or maybe in the form of chemical stimuli, are known as a sense organ or sensory organ. So fishes, they have number of sense organ. They have a different organ. They have photoreceptor organ, okay, they have an organ for smell, organ for sight, for hearing, for taste, touch, temperature, or electrical fields, okay. So fishes possess number of sense organs, so we will see all those sense organ one by one. And all these sense organs, they actually receive the stimuli, and after receiving the stimuli from the environment, what they do, they actually, these sense organs are linked with the nervous system, okay. So what they do, they simply send the stimuli to the nervous system, or more simplified we can say that they simply send the response or the stimulus from sense organ to the brain, okay. So basically they are one of the important component of the central nervous system, okay. So they basically send the stimuli from different organs to the central nervous system or the brain, okay. So here we will see the different type of sense organ. The number one is the eye. The eye sense what? Eye किस category में आएगा? Anyone?
The photoreceptor.
Okay, this is the organ of our sight. Okay, this is the organ which have a specialized cells. Okay, the specialized arrangement in the is the eye, which can help in the visualization of the object. Okay, then second one is the internal ear. So internal ear is the sense organ which is responsible for the hearing. Okay, so internal ear in the fish is the organ which is responsible for equilibrium and hearing. Then the third organ is the chemosensory organ, means the sense organ which actually receive the chemical stimulus. The eye and the internal ears, they receive the physical stimulus, but the chemosensory organ, they receive the chemical stimulus, okay. So they are basically of two type. One is the gustatory and another one is the olfactory. When I'm talking about the gustatory sense organ, means I'm talking about the organ of what, the organ of taste, okay. And when I'm talking about the olfactory organ, I'm talking about the organ of smell. So these two organs, the gustatory sense organ and the olfactory sense organ, they are actually the chemosensory organ which respond to the chemical, or which receives the chemical stimuli from the environment. Now the fourth one is the lateral line system, okay. So lateral line, in the taxonomy class, you must have seen the lateral line on the fish body. Have you seen or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
when we were studying the taxonomy, then what we have seen, the scales on the lateral line, the type of the straight lateral line, the curved lateral line, the complete lateral line, the incomplete lateral line, the broken lateral line. Okay, all these are actually the diagnostic character of this species. Okay, so the lateral line is actually a mechanosensory organ. Okay, so we'll also see how this lateral line system, okay, how the cells, sensory cells are arranged in the lateral line, and how it helps in the sensing the physical stimuli, okay. Then the fourth category is the electroreceptor organs. They are the sense organ which actually are sensitive to the electric fields, okay. So there is basically two type of electroreceptor. One is the ampullary organ and another one is the tuberous organ. The ampullary organ is an organ which actually receive this electric stimulus of lower frequency. Okay, and the tuberous organ are also the electroreceptor organ which actually receive the stimulus of a higher electrical frequency. Okay, so we will see all these sense organ in detail one by one. So first we will go for the eye. Okay, so as I have told, eyes are the photoreceptor organ in fishes, and their structure resemble with the structure of the eye of the other vertebrates. Okay, uh, so the in most of the fishes, the eye is lidless, means fish doesn't have the lid or the covering on their eye, except there is some shark like the sharks which comes under the like Galeorhinus. Okay, they have a lid. Okay, this that is not actually the lid. It is a nictitating membrane which covers the eye, but the nictitating membrane in this shark is act like a eyelid. Okay, otherwise the fish eye, it doesn't have the eyelid. Okay, and the fishes have the monoocular vision. Anyone can tell me what does mean monoocular vision? Mono means what?
One.
One. Okay,
Single.
single. Mono means one. Ocular, yeah, ocula means eye. Okay, so monoocular vision means fishes में कितने eyes होते हैं? दो eyes हैं. Generally
Yes, ma'am.
fishes have two eyes. Okay, both eyes are situated on each lateral side. Okay, so monoocular का vision, monoocular vision means two eyes have different vision. यानी एक तरफ, जैसे कि अगर मैं फिश की बात करूं तो जो लेफ्ट साइड, अगर हम उसको सीधे रखते हैं और जो लेफ्ट साइड में जो आईज है, दैट आई यूज टू सी द लेफ्ट साइड. ओके, फ्रॉम स्नाउट टू द टेल. Is it? And the eye which is on the right side, it used to have the vision of the right side from snout to the tail. So यानी कि दोनों आंखों का जो विजन है, मतलब वो अलग अलग है. दैट इज इट इज नोन एज अ मोनोऑकुलर विजन. ओके, एक आई का एक अलग फील्ड है. अगर ह्यूमंस में इसलिए हमारी बात करें, वी हैव द बायोऑकुलर विजन. हम दोनों आंखों के साथ दोनों, ऐसा नहीं कि हमारी एक आंख अलग ऑब्जेक्ट विजुअलाइज कर रही है, दूसरी अलग कर रही है. वी यूज टू सी द ऑब्जेक्ट विद द टू आईज टुगेदर. लेकिन फिश में ऐसा क्या होता है कि वन आई यूज टू सी ऑन द वन लैटरल साइड, अनदर ऑन द another lateral side. So that type of vision is known as the monoocular vision. Okay, so the field of view of each eye is considerably large in the fishes. It is from snout to the tail. Okay, now structure of the eye, like other vertebrate eye, it have basically four part: the cornea, the iris, lens, and the eyeball. So here this is typical teleosed eye structure. The outermost one is the skin or the nictitating membrane or the transmembrane, which actually covers the fish eye, followed by the cornea. And after cornea, there is the aqueous humor, which actually give the watery appearance to the eye. Okay, then there is a iris, and then the ligament. This is the lens which is attached with the ligament and the muscle, and these actually muscles or the ligament, it helps in the movement of the lens. Okay, and which is followed by the vitreous humor. This color, this is basically the vitreous humor. Then the retina, followed by the tapetum lucidum, then choroid, and the last one is the sclera. And this eye have the connection with the optic nerve. Means whatever the eye see or whatever the eye pigments interpret, it this whatever the signal received by the eye, okay, the photo signals received by the eye, it sent to the brain through the optic nerve. Okay, so we will see uh, in the detail. So the first, the cornea, it is the anterior most part of the eye. Means after the transparent nictitating membrane, there is the very first layer is made up of, which is known as a cornea. Okay, and it have three layers. The on the outermost one is the corneal epithelium, जो सबसे बाहर वाली है, that is corneal epithelium, followed by the corneal stroma, and inner one is the corneal endothelium. And in most of the fishes, this cornea is without any pigment, hence it looks transparent. Okay, and the cornea actually help in the retention of the water, thus it actually prevent the drying of the eyes. Now after cornea there is a layer which is known as the iris, which is lies just in front of the lens, eye lens. Okay, and is composed of pupil to control the amount of light should reach to the retina. Okay, यानी जो iris है उसका movement जो है वो actually iris जो है वो ये control करेगा कि कितनी light retina पे जानी है. Okay, क्योंकि जो pigments हैं, जो photosensitive pigments हैं, they are on the retina. Okay, तो कितनी light वहां तक जानी है, it will be controlled by the iris. And then there is a lens. The lens is transparent ball like and it is composed of the non-collagenous protein. Okay, it is filled by the lens capsule. Now the accommodation of lens. Okay, why I'm talking about the accommodation in lens particularly, because in the fishes like in other vertebrates what happened, the contraction of the lens is, okay, it actually decides how much light whenever someone have to view the object, what happened, basically the contraction of the lens occurs. But in case of fishes, किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को विजुअलाइज करने के लिए लेंस में कोई लेंस चेंज नहीं होता. क्या कहते हैं लेंस, क्या कहते हैं कि मतलब लेंस की शेप में कोई चेंज नहीं होता, बेसिकली लेंस की पोजीशन चेंज होती है. In other vertebrates what happens, there is a change in the lens. Okay, contraction or dilation of the lens occurs, so basically it causes this change in the shape of the lens. But in the fishes what happened, there is a no change in the shape of the lens, but लेकिन क्या कहते हैं, अगर आप फिश को किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट को व्यू करना है तो ऑब्वियसली इट है और उस पर अलग अलग लाइट पड़ रही होगी, तो उसको एडजस्ट तो करना है ना. तो fish achieve it simply by changing the position of the lens and change and in this there is actually one muscle which is known, this one, okay, which is known as a lentis muscle. The lentis muscles actually help in altering the position of the lens. This lentis muscle is also known as campelluna of Hillary. Okay, so this is the lentis muscle actually helps in accommodation of the lens, okay, in according to the object. Now the eyeball also have a 3 part. The outermost have the scleroid capsule, which is the outermost fibrous layer, which is strengthened by the cartilaginous tissue. Then the middle layer is the choroid layer. Okay, this is the highly vascular layer. Highly vascular layer means this is the layer where there is a dense network of blood capillaries, which is known as the rete mirabile. And here the counter current oxygen multiplier mechanisms occur to supply the extra amount of oxygen to the retina. Okay, and the innermost part of the eyeball is the retina, and it is most sensitive part of the eye, means this is the part which actually receives receive and respond to the light. Okay, so it consists of basically 3 layers. The very first layer is the light sensitive visual cells. So in the first layer it have the visual cells, basically the rod cells and cone cells. Okay, then there is another cell which is known as a bipolar cell, and then third one is the layer of ganglion cell. So actually bipolar cell is sandwiched between the visual cells and ganglionic cell. Means visual cells are connected to the bipolar cells and bipolar cells are connected to the ganglionic cells and ganglionic cells are connected to the optic nerves. Okay, so basically the signals which is sensed or received by the rod and cone cells or the visual cells, then it get transferred to the bipolar cell, from bipolar to the ganglionic cells, and from ganglionic cells it goes to the optic nerve, and from optic nerve to the brain. Okay, so we will discuss all these 3 layers. So very first in the retina, as I have told, the topmost layer is the light sensitive visual cell rays. It have 2 type of cells. rod and cones, and it have two types of light sensitive pigments, the rhodopsin, which is purple in color, and porphyropsin, which is rose in color. Okay, so there is two type of visual cells, or the light sensitive cells, and there is a two type of light sensitive pigment, the rhodopsin and the porphyropsin. Okay, so now we'll see about the photopigment. As I have told, there is two type of photopigments present in the fish eye. One is the rhodopsin and another one is the porphyropsin. So the photopigment is basically made up of two components. One is the retinal component and another one is the opsin. Retinal is nothing but the derivative of the vitamin A, and opsin is a glycoprotein. So basically the photopigment is made up of retinal and opsin. Okay, and it have two categories or two group. As I have already told, there is a two type of photopigment. The purple color photopigment is known as the rhodopsin, which is made up of a glycoprotein opsin plus a aldehyde derivative of vitamin A. So the purple color rhodopsin is responsible for the monochrome vision, or a more simplified form I can say that it is responsible for black and white vision. Okay, and then the rose color pigment, which is known as porphyropsin, this porphyropsin is made up of a glycoprotein opsin plus 3-dehydroretinal. Okay, so this porphyropsin is responsible for color vision. Okay, now how the rhodopsin, sorry, the porphyropsin, which is responsible for the color vision, how it is responsible for how it helps in the color vision. Here we can see that what happened in all type of porphyropsin. Okay, in actually in the eye there is only one type of rhodopsin, but there are several type of porphyropsin. Okay, one type of rhodopsin means a pigment which is made up of opsin plus aldehyde of a vitamin A. Okay, but in case of porphyropsin, what happened? There is a no change in the opsin. All the porphyropsin have common glycoprotein opsin. Okay, but the retinal, the 3-hydroxyretinal or the vitamin A derivative are slightly different in structure in all the pyropsin. So because of the slight difference in the vitamin A derivative, which is a part of the pyropsin, what happened? It actually enables this photopigment to absorb the different range of light wavelengths. Okay, so because it absorbs the light of different wavelengths, so a different colors. So that's why the porphyropsin is actually responsible for varied color or the color vision, and whereas the rhodopsin is responsible for monochrome or the black and white vision. So this is the rod cell and the cone cell. Rod cell have the photopigment rhodopsin and the cone cell have the photopigment porphyropsin. Okay, this is the structure of the two type of photopigment cells. Okay, now see the comparative difference between the rod and the cone cells. Okay, so the main difference between these two cells is the photopigment. The rhodopsin have the rod cells have a photopigment rhodopsin, and the cone cells have the photopigment porphyropsin. The rod cell, they are highly sensitive and nocturnal. Highly sensitive मतलब अगर लाइट बहुत कम है फिर सेंसिटिविटी ज़्यादा है. Sensitivity ज़्यादा means even in the dim light, okay, these cells can sense okay, these cells can sense the light. And the cone cells, they have the lower sensitivity. Lower sensitivity means in the dim light these cells cannot function, they need the bright light. That's why the rod cells, because they are highly sensitive, they perform the function of vision in the night, nocturnal. Okay, and cone cells, because then they have lower sensitivity, so they can perform the function in the bright light, that's or in the daytime, so that's why they are diurnal. Then because rod cells have more photopigment, so they have the greater photon capture, and that's why the high amplification. Okay, and cone cells, they have the less amplification. and saturation occurs at very low level of brightness because of the rod cells which have the rhodopsin which is highly sensitive for light. Okay, so बहुत low level की light पे भी ये जो pigments हैं totally saturate हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, बल्कि जो आपके कोन सेल्स हैं बिकॉज दे आर लेस सेंसिटिव, तो सैचुरेशन कोन सेल्स का बहुत ज्यादा इंटेंस लाइट जब होगी तभी होता है. ठीक है, नाउ रेजोल्यूशन इज लो in rod cells, but the cone cells have the high resolution. Then the response kinetics is slow and the integration time is long. What happened when a light falls on the rhodopsin? What happened? There is a breakdown. Okay, there is some change, structural change in the rhodopsin. So उसको वापस से फिर नेटिव फॉर्म में आने के लिए जो इंटीग्रेशन टाइम लगता है वो ज्यादा लगता है. But in the cone cells, the response is fast and the integration time is short. The rod cells, they are sensitive to the scattered light, and the cone cells, they are more sensitive to the direct light which is coming from the target. In rod cells, there is only one type of photoreceptor, so it's responsible for the no color vision or the monochromatic vision, whereas the rod cells, it have several type of photoreceptor, means they have porphyropsin, but in which the retinal derivative have different structural derivatives. So because of that, they have the ability to absorb the light of the different wavelengths. So that is why the cone cells have a capacity of the color vision. So that is the main difference between the rods and cones, okay, which are the photosensitive cells found in the retina, okay, the outermost retinal layer. Okay, now the dark and light adaptation of fish eye. Okay, so what happened in bright light, when the light is more, what happened, the very light sensitive rhodopsin, as I have told, rhodopsin is highly sensitive. So what happened when the light is bright, rod cell जो है वो फटाफट saturate हो जाएंगी, and it, as I have told, the integration time is very स्लो, मतलब स्लो है, इंटीग्रेशन टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा है. सो क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा सेंसिटिविटी है लाइट के लिए, जैसे ही ब्राइट लाइट पड़ेगी बहुत तेज़ी से जो है रिडॉप्शन विल ब्रोकन डाउन, और फिर वापस से उसको क्या कहते हैं ओरिजिनल फॉर्म में आने में इट विल टेक टाइम. ओके, सो अभी क्या होगा, क्योंकि अब वो इनएक्टिव हो गया. सो इस ब्राइट लाइट में जो आपका लेस लाइट सेंसिटिव पिगमेंट है, कोन्स, जो कोन सेल्स हैं विच हैव पोरफायरोप्सिन, they actually active, okay, in the normal or the bright light. फिर क्या होगा, suppose fish is moving from the bright condition to the dark condition. अब क्या होगा, जो आप अभी, क्योंकि bright light में cone cells active थे because they are less sensitive to the light, but जैसे ही fish जो है dark में जाएगी because cones की sensitivity light के लिए कम है, so now cone cells are too insensitive to detect any light. अब क्या होगा, इतनी देर में जो ब्राइट लाइट में जो रोडोप्सिन क्या कहते हैं ब्रोकन डाउन होके इनएक्टिव हो गया था, वो वापस से रीजनरेट हो गया है, एंड नाउ दिस पिगमेंट इज रेडी फॉर द डार्क एडेप्टेशन. अब क्या होगा, क्योंकि डार्क में लाइट कम है लेकिन आपका जो रोडोप्सिन है वो बहुत हाईली सेंसिटिव है, तो वो क्या करेगा कि उसकी वजह से तो फिर वो उसकी वजह से फिश कैन सी इन द डार्क. फिर डार्क से वापस जब फिश लाइट में आएगी फिर वही होगा, रोडोप्सिन जो है वो इनकम्प्लीटली जो है कम्प्लीटली ब्लीच्ड आउट हो जाएगा, ब्रोकन डाउन हो जाएगा, और कोन्स जो है वो वापस से अपना जो है फंक्शन जो है वो रिज्यूम कर लेंगे. सो दैट इज हाउ फिश एबल टू सी इन द डार्क and in the light. Okay, so for the dark there is a pigment responsible is rhodopsin, and in the light, bright light, there is a pigment porphyropsin which is responsible for the vision. So this was about the eye. Okay, now the second organ, which is the internal ear. Okay, the internal ear is also known as membranous labyrinth in fishes. Okay, so generally the internal ear is an organ which is responsible for hearing as well as the equilibrium. Okay, so this is the structure of the internal hair. You can see here, this is the internal hair. The very peculiar character, it have three chambers: the utriculus, the sacculus, and the lagina. This is sacculus, this is lagina, this is utriculus, and it have three semicircular canal: the anterior canal, the posterior canal, and the horizontal canal. And the end of the each canal have a swelling. This swelling is known as ampullae. Okay, so this is the internal layer of the teleost. Okay, so the cavity of each means these chambers. Okay, the utriculus, the sacculus, and the lagina, it is filled with the fluid. That fluid is known as endolymph. Okay, and it have a group of highly sensitive cells which is known as sensory hair cells. Okay, and the cavity of these three means these three chambers have solid कंसंट्रेशन मीन्स उनकी इन तीनों की कैविटी में एक बहुत स्मॉल सा स्टोन, मतलब बहुत हार्ड कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड एक बहुत आप माइन्यूट सा आप स्टोन बोल सकते हैं. ओके, दैट इज नोन एज द ओटोलिथ. मीन्स देयर आर थ्री ओटोलिथ प्रेजेंट इन थ्री चैम्बर. वन इज इन द utriculus, another one is the sacculus, and in the lagina. So all these three chambers have the solid concentration which is known as otolith. Okay, so the semicircular canal and the utriculus chamber, it is responsible for maintenance of the equilibrium. ओके और जो आपके बाकी दो चैम्बर्स है नीचे की तरफ, सैक्युलस एंड लैगिना, दे आर एक्चुअली the site for the sense of hearing. Means semicircular canal and utriculus responsible for equilibrium, maintaining the equilibrium, and sacculus and lagina, they are responsible for hearing. Okay, now this is the hair cell, the sensory hair cell, which is responsible for actually which receives the mechanical, which receives the signals and it sends it to the brain. Okay, so this is here you can see that this is the cell, this is the nucleus. This large flagella is known as kinocilium, and this shorter one is known as stereocilia. What you see the trend, जैसे जैसे आप इधर जा रहे हैं सीलियम की लेंथ बढ़ती जाती है. So it actually stereocilias are shorter, and then the last one, the kinocilium, is the largest one. So what happened when and these cells are sensitive to the mechanical deflection. Okay, जो क्या कहते हैं कि कोई भी मतलब अगर एक जगह से कोई चीज हिल रही है, ठीक है, तो क्या होता है कि उस डिफ्लेक्शन को दे यूज टू सेंस, और उस डिफ्लेक्शन को जब वो सेंस करते हैं तो बेसिकली वो क्या होता है, इस मेम्ब्रेन में जो किनोसीलियम है ना, इसके दोनों तरफ एक इलेक्ट्रिकल पोटेंशियल जनरेट होता है, ग्रेडियंट, इलेक्ट्रिकल पोटेंशियल ग्रेडियंट जनरेट होता है, और वो जो है फिर आपका ब्रेन की तरफ जाता है. तो होता क्या है बेसिकली, जो आपका ओटोलिथ है, जो जब फिश वाटर के अंदर है तो फिश की बॉडी की डेंसिटी और वाटर की डेंसिटी सेम होती है, लेकिन उसमें मैंने बोला ना एक इमोबाइल ओटोलिथ है, एक हार्ड सॉलिड कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है, उसकी डेंसिटी वाटर और फिश की डेंसिटी से ज्यादा है. तो क्या होता है कि अब जैसे हियरिंग हो रही है तो क्या होगा, बेसिकली द साउंड करंट विल फ्लो इन थ्रू इन वाटर में ही तो साउंड वो फ्लो करेगी ना, साउंड वेव जो है वो वाटर में फ्लो करेगी. तो जब वाटर में साउंड वेव फ्लो कर रही है तो एक्चुअली क्योंकि फिश और वाटर की डेंसिटी सेम है तो फिश तो कुछ फील नहीं कर रही है, लेकिन जब साउंड वेव को कहते हैं फ्लो करती है वाटर में, तो क्या होता है कि बॉडी को वो डिफ्लेक्शन फील नहीं होता, लेकिन क्योंकि ओटोलिथ की डेंसिटी ज्यादा है तो बेसिकली होता क्या है कि ओटोलिथ नहीं हिला लेकिन बॉडी मूव कर गई. ओटोलिथ इमोबाइल है, और जो आपकी लेकिन दूसरी बॉडी जो इंटरनल ईयर का जो दूसरा पार्ट है वो क्या कहते हैं, वो दूसरे एक डायरेक्शन में मूव कर गया, द डायरेक्शन ऑफ द साउंड वेव में मूव किया. तो उससे क्या हुआ कि ये जो आपकी हेयर सेल्स हैं, हेयर यू कैन सी दैट ये ब्रश करती हैं आपकी इमोबाइल ओटोलिथ को. तो क्या हुआ ओटोलिथ स्टैटिक है, लेकिन ये जो है इनमें ये क्योंकि ये इससे टच कर रही थी, जब बॉडी मूव हुई साउंड वेव के साथ तो ये डिफ्लेक्ट हुई। जब ये आपके डिफ्लेक्ट होती हैं तो इसकी वजह से क्या होता है, इलेक्ट्रिकल पोटेंशियल जनरेट होता है, और वहां से जो है बेसिकली फ्लो जो है सीलिया के अक्रॉस आयन का जो फ्लो है मेम्ब्रेन का, उसमें जो चेंजेस आते हैं, दैट चेंजेस आर सेंस्ड बाय दीज efferent and afferent cells which actually send the signals to the brain. Okay, so इस तरह से जो फिश है वो हियरिंग के उसको साउंड वेव को सेंस करते हैं, ठीक है। So this I have already explained. Now the chemosensory organ, as I have told, these are the organ which is responsible for sensing or receiving the chemical stimulus from the surrounding or the environment. They are basically of two types. One is the gustatory organ, and second one is the olfactory organ. So the gustatory organ are responsible for taste, and the olfactory organs are responsible for smell.
Smell.
So now the chemosensory behavior. Okay, so the feeding, okay, the behavior which is associated with feeding means smelling the food, reaching towards the food, okay, ingesting the food, all these behavior is come under the gustatory behavior, okay, or the gustatory sense. The feeding associated जो भी activities हैं that have the gustatory sense or the gustation. And another like detecting danger, then non-sexual social interaction, orientation of the animal, and the reproductive synchrony. Okay, all these behaviors come under the olfactory or the sense smell organ. Okay, so first we will go for the gustatory system. So as I have told, basically the gustatory system means a sense of taste. Okay, so it is basically a portion of the nervous system. Okay, the taste buds, the sensory cells of the taste buds, they are associated with the nervous system. Okay, or the sensory cells of the taste buds, they actually send the signals to the brain. Okay, at particular moment fish tasted this, a salty food और द स्वीट फूड और द सॉर फूड और जो भी है उस तरह का सेंस जो है वो ब्रेन को जाता है। और फिश की जो प्रिफर्ड फीडिंग हैबिट है, फिश यूज टू चूज एंड टेक द फूड। ओके, सो बेसिकली जो फिशेज में जो टेस्ट बर्ड होती है, दे आर नॉट ओनली कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड ऑन द लिप्स और द माउथ, उनका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन और भी जगह है, लाइक ऑन द गिल्स ऑल्सो। ओके, fishes have a dense taste buds in their oral cavity. ओके, माउथ के अंदर है, बट दे आर ऑल्सो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ऑन गिल्स एंड एक्सटीरियर सर्फेस, मतलब स्नाउट के आसपास में भी दे हैव द टेस्ट बर्ड्स। ओके, and the gustatory sense of fishes, they are basically associated with three cranial nerves. Okay, the cranial nerve 7, the cranial nerve 9, and the cranial nerve 10. Okay, so here we'll see the sensory cells or the taste buds. Okay, the taste buds which are present on the external body, on the lips, on the rostral plate, they are actually linked with the cranial nerve 7. Okay, and now the the taste buds of oral cavity, or which is present on the gill racker of the first gill are, okay, they have the connection with the cranial nerve 9. And the taste bud which is present on the most posterior, the posterior part in the pharynx, मतलब गर्दन के आसपास जो है, they actually linked with the cranial nerve 10. So the cranial nerve 7, it is important for एपिटेटिव फीडिंग एक्टिविटी, मीन्स जो टेस्ट बर्ड्स हैं जो कि लिंक्ड है आपकी क्रेनियल नर्व 7 से, they have the food search their role is in the food search. Okay, they have the appetitive feeding activity, whereas the taste buds which actually joins or connected with the cranial nerve 9 and a 10, they have importance in the consummatory feeding behavior, means ingestion and swallowing of the food. Okay, this is the structure of the typical taste bud which is found in the fishes. Now the olfactory system. Okay, The olfactory system, actually when we are talking about the gustatory system, it actually receive the chemical stimulus which is associated with the food and feeding habit. Okay, but olfactory system, the response, okay, the stimuli which received by the olfactory system, it have a much broader range. Okay, it includes the stimulus of the food odor, the geographic location, the pheromone. Okay, so actually the olfactory system or the organ of smell, it detects variety of stimuli, okay, as compared to the gustatory system. And there is only single nerve which is known as, in the case of gustatory system we have seen there is a three cranial nerves, cranial nerve 7, 9 and 10, which are responsible for gustatory function. But in the olfactory there is a single cranial nerve which is known as the olfactory nerve, is directly linked to the brain, and this is the nerve which can regenerate throughout the life of the animal. Otherwise the nerve cells, they are not the regenerative type of cells, but the olfactory nerves, they can regenerate throughout the life of animal. Okay, in fishes, olfactory receptor cells, okay, they are located in the olfactory epithelium, which covers much of the olfactory rosety. So olfactory rosety, or the structure which have these olfactory receptor cells, they are present in the nasal chamber or the olfactory chamber of the fish. Okay, so this is a different type of olfactory organs present in the fishes. This is the olfactory organ present in the lampreys. This type is present in the zebrafish, and this type of olfactory organ in salmons. Okay. Now the olfactory stimuli, कौन सी चीजें हैं that can be sensed by the olfactory organ? Even they can sense amino acid, the bile acid, the gonadal steroids and their derivative, prostaglandins, and various other chemicals like alcohol, amines, carboxylic acid, nucleotides, even the aromatic hydrocarbons. So these are the group of chemicals that can be sensed by the olfactory organ. Now the lateral line system, as I have told, the lateral line system is basically a system which is made up of specialized cell which are mechanosensory in nature. Okay, means the lateral line system is basically work as a mechanosensory organ. Okay, so as I have already told, you have seen the lateral line on the fish body. So the lateral line canals, they are arranged in the definite pattern in the cephalic region, हेड रीजन में उनका पैटर्न होता है, एंड दे कैन एक्सटेंड, okay, on each side of the body from head to the tail, and there are several branches present at the head region. Okay, in the primitive fishes, the canals are in the form of grooves, while in the teleost fishes and the cartilaginous fishes, they are basically the closed tubes attached by they are closed tubes which is filled with the mucus. Okay, and they have the opening to the external environment at regular intervals which are with, okay. So here we'll see, this is the lateral line system. So this is here you can see that at regular interval the lateral line have a organ which is known as the neuromast. Okay, so this neuromast is actually the organ which act as a which actually sense the mechanical senses or mechanical stimuli. This neuromast is responsible for receiving the mechanical stimuli or responding to the mechanical stimuli. Okay, so here we'll see that the lateral line canals are basically divided into three branches. Okay, the one is known as the supraorbital, means the lateral lines canals which are above the eye and going to the snout. Then the infraorbital, infra means below, orbital means eye. So they are basically below the eye and reaching up to the snout. And the third one is highmandibular. Highmandibular means behind the eye, which is going up to the lower jaw. Mandible means a lower jaw. So here you can see that in the EMEA, this is the supraorbital lateral canal, this is the infraorbital lateral canal, and this is the highmandibular lateral canal. Same in the Valaguet2, the supraorbital canal, the infraorbital canal, the mandibular canal. Here in the Notopterus, the supraorbital canal, the infraorbital canal, and the mandibular canal. So this is basically in the head region, in the cephalic region, these lateral canals are of three types: supraorbital, intraorbital, and highmandibular. So now the structure of neuromast. As I have told, in the lateral line canal, on regular interval, there is a small organ which is known as a neuromast. Actually, this is an organ which is responsible for receiving the mechanical uh, stimuli. So this neuromast is basically a group of sensory cells, okay, supporting cells and basal cells. So the sensory cells are very much similar to the cells that we have seen in the internal ears, which have stereocilia and kinocilium, okay. Or basically the sensory cells are also known as the hair cells. So these hair cells are very similar to the hair cells which are present in the internal ears, okay. Mm. Then these sensory cells, they are connected to the central nervous system by the afferent and the efferent nerve fiber. And these cells, this neuromast is actually sensitive to the deflection, and it is a mechanoreceptor. So here you can see this is the structure of the neuromast, which have several sense sensory hair cells concentrated and form a one structure which is known as the neuromast, and this is the structure of the single sensory hair cell, okay. So now the sensory mechanism in neuromast. What happened when the fish moves in the water? What happened? The pressure gradient or the wave, okay, which generates with the result of the oscillation. What क्या होता है जब fish move कर रही है, जैसे normal movement है fish का, fish swim कर रही है और उससे जो है आपका this image this will make you more clear. Wait, here you can see that, okay. क्या होता है fish simple move कर रही है. Suppose a fish is moving, okay, and then what happened, कोई object है, इट मे बी एनी ऑब्जेक्ट, ओके, कोई दूसरा एनिमल हो सकता है, प्रे हो सकता है, प्रेडेटर हो सकता है, कोई इमोबिलाइज ऑर्गन हो सकता है, कोई एक्वेटिक प्लांट हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो जब जब ये जो आपका जो लाइन प्रेशर्स की जो प्रेशर लाइंस जो बनती हैं सराउंडिंग में, जैसे ही कोई ऑब्जेक्ट आएगा ये प्रेशर लाइन डिफ्लेक्ट होगी, ये डिस्टॉर्शन होगा. तो ये जो डिफ्लेक्शन होता है, ये जो डिस्टॉर्शन होता है प्रेशर लाइन का बाय एनी सॉलिड ऑब्जेक्ट, बाय द प्रे, बाय द प्रेडेटर और एनी ऑब्जेक्ट, वो जो डिफ्लेक्शन है, क्या कहते हैं, वो जो डिस्टॉर्शन है प्रेशर लाइन का, दैट इज डिटेक्टेड बाय द hair cells which are present in the neuromast. That's why this lateral line system is a system which is mechanosensory, okay, or it is a mechanoreceptor. Now another specialized cell which is known as the Mothner cell, okay. Why Mothner cell? Because there is a one scientist, ophthalmologist, okay, Ludwig Mothner, which actually seen first time in the teleos cell. What they have seen, they have has found a cell, okay, which mediates a escape response called C start or C startle, okay. So it's basically a very fast escape reflex, okay. Suppose if fish detect a danger, okay, surrounding her, or a fish want to be away from a predator, so what happens, these are the cells which are present, which are a pair of big and easily identifiable neurons. Basically ये neurons हैं, दो पेयर में होती हैं, one on each side of the body, okay, and they are located in a one region which is known as a rhombomer 4 in the hind brain. Fish brain have three parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Forebrain means सबसे आगे वाला हिस्सा, midbrain between वाला, hindbrain is the last one. So जो fish में जो hindbrain होता है उसमें एक chamber होता है that is known as the rhombomer 4. So these cells are, these neurons or the Mothner cells are located in that, and these cells or these neurons are basically responsible for a very fast escape reflex, okay, which is as the C start response, okay. So, and generally what happen, the sensory cells or the neurons, uh, they either use the chemical synapse or the electrical synapse, means they either response to the chemical stimulus or the electrical stimulus. But these Mothner cells, they have they actually use both the chemical as well as the electrical synapses. Now the last, the electroreceptor organs, okay. So they are the organ which are highly sensitive to the electric field, okay. And these type of organs are used by fishes for electrocommunication, electrolocation and social signaling, okay. So so these electroreceptors, they have a very considerable variation in their morphology, means there is a different morphology in the different species, and their distribution is also varied. And in most of the fishes which have the electroreceptor, their distribution is all over the skin of the fish, okay. So in the fishes, the electroreception is found in non-teleost taxa, मीन्स teleost fishes में electroreception नहीं होता है. The fishes of teleost group, they doesn't have the electroreceptor organ except two, okay. The कहते हैं Myziniformis and Holosti, they have the electroreceptor, okay. Otherwise the teleost doesn't have the electroreception, okay. Basically there is two type of electroreceptors found in fishes. One is the ampullary organ, which respond to the signals of low frequency, that is up to 50 hertz only. And the tuberous organ, they are the high frequency receptor, and they are restricted to the electric fishes, means tuberous organ जो होता है, जो electric fishes होती हैं, that can produce their own very high frequency electric signals, they are found in those fishes only. And the ampullary organs in the found in the fishes which have which respond to the low signals of the low frequency. So this is the structure of the electroreceptor. This is the ampullary organ, okay, on the left side, and on the right side this is the tuberous organ, okay. So now how it function, okay, the function of the electroreceptor, it basically enables the fish to locate the object at the distance, okay. So the fishes which have the fishes which have this electroreceptors on their body, on their skin, they are more sensitive to the electric field than the fishes which doesn't have such type of structure, okay. So whenever there is a distortion in the electric field caused by any animal or the solid object, the fish become aware, or fish sense the deflection in the electric field, okay. So this is the function of the electroreceptor. This is about today's class.